Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today to talk about my 1 month update in my autumn project pan. So it is currently mid-May and I realized just this morning that I was like, oh, it's actually been a whole month since I put my last video up, so it's time for a check-in. And when I was getting all the products, I'm like, oh my god, I've actually made some decent progress. I'm very proud of myself. So I've just been out at the shops and stuff. I don't even know if my makeup looks good on camera. I don't even care. And I just thought I'm going to sit down and I want to give you an update because I'm proud of myself. But I am having like a bad technology week. I just dropped my camera, like luckily I think nothing happened. And also my computer broke last week. So yeah, if I'm not having as much content up, that's probably why, but I'm trying. Anyway, I thought I'd point out really quickly, we've got the boogie. So this is Baby, and he doesn't like being in videos too much. So it's rare that he is here. So he's my very spoiled son and he doesn't really like to appear in videos too much. So usually he's in the bed or in one of his cat beds. So it's a rare occasion that we've got Boogie in the background. So if you're not familiar with what this series is, it's a project pan. I'm doing them seasonally so I can like focus on certain colors and formulas that sort of suit me better in a particular season. And if you want to see my intro, I'll link it on the screen or in the description box or something, where I've introduced about 12 products that I want to use up or hit pan on by the end of the 3 months. So this is an update on how I'm going. Now I'm happy to say that I've used up one product. It was the concealer. So you can see here that it's got a little bit down the bottom, but if you try to pump it out, it just won't come out. And if I like pull it apart, I'm sure I can get maybe 1 or 2 applications out of there. It's actually not like completely flat. It's sort of like there's a bit of a hollow in there. So yeah, it won't pump out any further and I'm not loving it enough to like dig into it and worry about the little bit at the bottom. But you can see that that grey mark there was where I was at a month ago and I've used up quite a lot. Now I had this in my project pan, in my summer project pan, and each month I was making very little progress, and I did explain that the reason for that was that I was doing half pumps with this. I sort of realized that the more I used this, the more I didn't like the effect of it. It's a nice concealer, but what I found would happen is if I really like put on quite a lot of concealer, which half a pump is enough concealer for your like whole under eye area, I found that it sort of highlighted my bags. So these kind of areas in here, I found that the lighter I did my concealer, the more they were like noticeable. So instead of just going half a pump and just using it just as a concealer, what I would do with this was use a full pump, but I'd sort of on the back of my hand pump a few pumps of foundation, and then on the very edge pump a full pump of this, and I'd go in with my foundation, put it on, and then I would sort of mix the foundation with my concealer to sheer it out a little bit and also make it a little bit darker, not so like brightening, and I'd use that part on my under eye area. Or I would go in with the concealer on the beauty blender just under the eyes and then put the foundation over the top. So I was using a lot more foundation in the, concealer in the last month than I was previously leading up to this month. Now onto the things that I've made really good progress on, and I was shocked at how good the progress I made on this foundation. Now if you remember when I introduced it last month, I said that I barely used it and I sort of had only started using it the week prior to make sure that I liked it and I was happy to use it every day. So when I started it was up to here. Now it is down to there. What the actual heck? So you can see the scrape where I was trying to like figure out where it was up to. It is down to there. So from there to there in a month. Now, I do think that if you use a foundation every single day of the week for a whole month, you pretty much use up a whole bottle. I feel like a 30 ml, you pretty much use a mil a day, I find personally. Now this foundation was very thick and it was a good foundation, like I'm still using it, but it's quite like long lasting. I've got it on today, I like it. It was getting a little bit dark, so I put some like adjusting drops in it. Normally when I have a foundation that's a little bit dark, I'll mix it with a lighter foundation, so it makes it like takes a lot longer to use up a foundation. So a foundation like this, if I was using it with another lighter foundation, it would take me double the time. So I'd do like, you know, half the lighter one, half the slightly darker one. But because I used the lightning drops, I could mainly just use this foundation, so I used it a lot quicker. Also, I found that even though this was a nice, like, decent coverage foundation, it was quite thick, and it meant that you had to use quite a lot. Now, it doesn't feel cakey when you apply a lot, but I was using a good, or I still am using a good, like 3 to 4 pumps of this, if not sometimes more if I bring it down my neck, on a daily basis, because since it is quite thick, it doesn't spread as easily with it like a sponge. So I found that I would do like 2 pumps and go just to use 2 pumps, and then it would just like cover my forehead and maybe my T-zone, and I'm like, damn, I need another 2 pumps for my cheeks, and just running it down my neck a little bit. So yeah, I found that I like this foundation, but I used a lot more than I was expecting to, so it went a lot quicker than I thought it would. So I have no doubt that in a week or so that will be gone. Another thing that I made noticeable difference in is my brow powder. So this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills dark brown brow powder duo. Now I did say that, so this has 2 shades, and I wanted to use up the lighter shade in this project pan, and I've already hit pan on it. So last time I did have a nice dip in it, but that dip, I think after maybe, just under 2 weeks of use, or maybe around 2 weeks of use, I hit pan, and I've just been working at that pan. It's just been getting bigger and bigger. So I love the lighter powder. I do also use a bit of the darker powder, and I would love to hit pan on the darker shade as well by the end of this 3-month project. It's got a bit of a dip in it, but I'm not too sure. Now on its own, that powder is way too dark for my brow, so I really do need to go in with the lighter one and then just fill in some areas with the darker one. So I mainly use the light, and I think at this rate I should be able to use it up. I really enjoy it, so it's very easy to use, but I should be able to use it up by the end of the next 2 months. I'm just looking at how much I have left in there. I've probably got a good, I don't know, I've used less than half. So, and when I did introduce this, it had been used heavily, so it's quite ambitious, but I will try. All right, the primer that I've been using is the Makeup Forever Mattifying Primer. I really wanted this to go before the cooler weather because I'm more oilier and I need sort of makeup to be more matte in the warmer weather. Now it's getting pretty cold, so I wanted this to be done a lot quicker than it is, but I'm around down to there. So I've still got a lot to go. And what I have learned from these sort of tube products is that in this area, it's like deceptively, it looks like there's not much, but there's a lot of product in there because it's a lot thicker than the rest of the tube. So I feel like if I use this a lot, I'll be lucky to use it up by the end of this project pan, but I will keep trying. A product that I actually haven't used too much and I've surprisingly made a big dent in, and this shows that like setting sprays or finishing sprays, you can use them up pretty quickly. So this is my Maybelline Master Fix Wear Boosting Setting Spray, and when I first introduced it, I had barely used it. I used it maybe 3 times, and I was up to there, and now I'm sort of like around here. So I've got over half left, but I haven't used this too often, to be honest. When I do use it, I use quite a lot of it, but I don't use this every day. I forget most of the time. So I think, yeah, if I set my mind to it, I can definitely finish that up. Another visible difference, hopefully you'll be able to see, is with my MAC paint pot in the shade Utterly Becoming. When I introduced this, it had hit pan from my last project pan, but I've been working on the sides. Now, I don't know if you can see it properly, but I think when I showed this last time, I just hit pan, but now I'm sort of like working down the sides a lot. So hopefully if I show it like this, you can see that the top parts, no, focus on the thing. Hopefully you can see that it's sort of being worked down the sides slowly but surely. Okay, I'm actually very happy about this. This only happened 2 days ago. My lip product, oh, Boogie's on the move. Nope, just turning around, that's all right. All right, so the lip product that I introduced is a product that I love using. I'm using it today. It's really super easy just to grab when I'm going to work, I've had it in my handbag the whole time. Whenever I want to touch up just a nude lip, I always go for this. So I have actually made a visible, noticeable difference. So last time I showed this, there was no packaging. So it's like a airless pump. So once you sort of pump it, it pumps the product up and pushes it up. And when I introduced it, there was just color there that you could not see the packaging. Now, if I show you really closely, you'll be able to see that there is the base of that airless pump. And I think about maybe a centimeter up from that is probably where the real base of the liquid lipstick is. But the progress is that now the packaging was somewhere in this black and now it's up in that clear. So hopefully you can see just through there that there is definitely the packaging. And if you do look closer, you can see that the packaging sort of goes into the middle a little bit more, but yeah, that's the visible difference. I've also seen some visible difference on the fragrance that I've been using. So it's a Lady Gaga fragrance in Fame. And when I introduced this, it was above the halfway mark. So it was, yeah, probably, I don't know, around there, I think. It was definitely, yeah, well above that halfway point. Now I have been using it every day and I have worked it down below that halfway point. And the good thing about it is because it is a sort of rounded shape, the middle part contains most volume, so it should be pretty easy sailing from now on. So I still have what looks like a good, I don't know, third left, but I did use up quite a bit in the last month. And because this is not a really strong fragrance, you can apply quite a lot. You can reapply during the day. I sort of forget to, I might do it now. I don't want to upset the cat, it's gonna get upset. But that fragrance is pretty easy to use. It's pretty easy to use quite a lot of, so I'll keep on going with it. Now the last product that I can see visible progress on is my bronzer. This is from Thin Lizzy. It's a 6-in-1 powder. And I haven't hit pan, but I can see the rings. So yeah, what I've been doing with this is using it with a big fluffy brush or even a kabuki brush, and just kind of swirling it in and then just warming up my face a little bit. So that's how I've been using that, but you can definitely see the rings of the pan. So it should be hitting pan probably by next update. And I do want to finish this up by the end of the project pan. So it's not just hitting pan, I really do want to use the whole thing up. The lip liner that I introduced, which was a Uemura lip liner. Hopefully you can see there where it's up to on the label. So I have used a bunch of that. I don't know, I haven't marked it. I just thought I'd go by photos so you can see the comparison on the screen compared to what it is. But I have been using this, not every day, but I used it today like under my lip product. I just filled in my lips. So every, you know, maybe once or twice a week, I'll try to remember to use this if I'm wearing a nude lip to fill in my lips completely, and then I just put like a gloss or that lip product over the top. So I have been using it quite a bit. Hopefully the difference is noticeable. Then the products that I haven't really seen any difference with, I'm using up a Concrete Minerals. This is a mineral eyeshadow in the shade Rocked. Now I use this as a highlighter. I'm wearing it today. I can use quite a lot because it's a really nice, smooth, easy to apply. It doesn't look too extreme. It's really beautiful as a highlighter. And when I did take a photo, it was sort of like just under the halfway mark. And I think it looks like it's still at that same point. So I have used it a lot. And if I have like that amount in the lid, I use that easily in one application. So I've used this quite a lot, but I just haven't seen any noticeable, what I think is a noticeable difference. Yeah, it looks like it's about the same as what it was when I started, but I have been using it consistently, so we'll see. And then the last thing that I have been using every day, but I've seen no difference in, it's the Illamasqua Powder Blusher in Naked Rose. So this is the blush that I'm wearing today under the highlighter, and I do use this a lot, but there's barely any dent, there's barely anything. This blush is a beautiful blush to use. It's such a nice blush. I'm really happy that I've kind of been using it, but because it is very, very smooth and quite pigmented, you really only need the smallest amount to show up. So this is definitely a less is more sort of blush. And I find that I can only really go overboard when I'm not wearing much bronzer, if I'm just focusing on the blush. but because I've been using bronzer as well, I've sort of just been going light-handed with the blush. So I didn't want to use this up in this project pan, but I did want to hit pan on it. And I don't know if I'm going to do that, but it's a beautiful blush to use. So because I am doing quite well with this project pan, I'm going to introduce another product to sort of take over from the product that I've used up already, and I'm introducing another foundation. Now this foundation, I love Revlon Colorstay, so I'm very happy to introduce this. This shade is probably a little bit too light for me, but it's a really good winter shade for me. So I think coming into the cooler months, this is a good one to either mix with this one or take over from it. So when this one's done, I'm going to move on to this, and that is up to there. So it's about it's over a third left. So yeah, I'm going to see if we can use this up. I'm sure I can, but that's what I'm introducing. All right, guys, that is my 1 month check-in to my autumn project pan. I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I think I've picked products that I can happily wear sort of on a daily basis or most days. There are a couple of products like the blush that I'm sort of struggling with. Blushes are always hard to use in project pans. They literally take a whole year or more to use up one blush. So sort of wanting to hit pan in 3 months is a big ask, especially blushes that you can't go heavy-handed with. Blushes where you sort of just can go in ham and apply a lot, they tend to be a lot easier to use up, but the sort of really pigmented, sort of bolder ones, yeah, it's hard to use, but I'm trying. Look at this gorgeous ball. I'm gonna interrupt him. Boogie. Oh, you're so nice and warm, Boogie. So I've got my Boogie boy here. Why are you looking at me like that? Don't look at me like that. Mwah. Beautiful. All right, so we're gonna head off and we're gonna make some dinner. Do you want some dinner? And we'll see you soon.